Promised you yesterday some technical strategic differences between here and Vegas. The first one, deception does not matter under any circumstance. It is ridiculous how little you need to think about it. I actually made that mistake in a hand. I took like half a guy's stack when I could have taken his whole stack because I thought I needed a little deception, which I would in Vegas. My mindset was like playing a hand in Vegas, and I thought I can't play it so fast here, the guy will fold. We'll get all in on the next street, he'll be in too deep. He won't be able to fold. Well, a very bad run out hit. Very bad for me because it scared the other guy. So I got about half his stack, but once we got to the next street, he wasn't willing to get all in anymore. And then I thought, well, I'm not being results oriented, but we could have just gotten all in on the previous street, right? Like, it doesn't matter, even if I showed him my cards almost, he would have gotten all in because it's Lake Elsinore. So definitely there's like a tiny need for deception. It's good to think about because there are cities where it matters a lot, mostly Vegas, even other cities where it comes in handy. Here, just almost never. Just like, you have a very strong hand, play it as fast as you want, people won't fold. Sizing is very interesting, thing number two, and if you're wondering where I am, that's Lake Elsinore behind me. It's not a very tall structure, but that's where it is. I'm parked somewhere in there, and I'm walking around up on this hill. So when I raise pre-flop for value, I'm trying to go either heads up or 3 ways to the flop. It's very difficult to win very multi-way hands. You go to a flop 6 ways, 7 ways, for one, there's like no chance you're bluffing your way out of it if you miss. You're not gonna get 5 people to fold. That's just not happening. It's also tough to win at showdown when that many people see the flop because like you don't just hit like full houses all over the place. Like if you hit a hand, it's usually gonna be like 1 pair, maybe 2 pair. That's still a tough hand to win at showdown when 5, 6 other people have seen the flop. So when I raise pre-flop, I'm trying to go heads up or 3 ways. And that's actually a tough amount to find here. Like in Vegas, you know, $15, sometimes $20. In Council Bluffs, like $20, $25. Same thing in Maryland. Here, it's like if you make it 20, you're going like, I don't know, 6 ways to the flop a lot. And like I've seen 3-bet hands go 6 ways to the flop. Say there's like a raise to 15, call, and you want to make sure you put out a sizing for your 3-bet that you go heads up or 3 ways to the flop. What amount are you looking for? I mean, 50 is not coming close to getting it done. Everyone's gonna call the 50. You make it 150, that might blow everyone out. It's actually like a tough amount to find. In that situation, I've gone like 75 before, and we've still gone 4 ways to the flop, which is awesome. The games are active, they're live, there's a lot of money to be had, it's awesome, but it's still tough to win like 4-way hands. You just don't have like a hand strong enough to beat 3 other people all too often, and you don't have the chance to bluff when you have so much, you don't have a lot of money behind, and it's tough to get 3 people bluffed out of a pot. So it's tough to find that pre-flop sizing, I found, to go heads up or 3 ways to a flop. Third thing is it's actually very difficult to play an exploitative style. So you can play exploitatively, you could play balanced. I much prefer to play exploitative. I try to get people down to 1 hand and play my hand very, very specifically for what I think my opponent has. That is really tough out here. They can have anything. It's almost like impossible to do, and I'm like relegated to play balanced, which for one, I don't enjoy as much. 2, I'm not as good at because I haven't done it so much in the past. Even in Council Bluffs, which is probably the toughest competition I've ever played against, they're at least thinking. So even if they're like making some smart moves, like, oh, they have a few bluffs, a few draws, a few made hands, you can like almost get in their head and understand what they're doing. And if you can know what they're thinking, you can play accordingly and you can make some good moves yourself. Here, it's like people just show up with anything at any point, which means they're losing players and there's a lot of money to be had, but it's very difficult to ever like pinpoint someone on a hand and play a very, very specific line against that. So I just like need to be okay with understanding that like, I'll play this hand well, it'll show a profit in the long run, but there's gonna be a chunk of the time I lose. Like I said yesterday, very, very little without showdown. You're really like at the mercy of making hands and having them hold. And it's probably like the wildest swings I've ever had. It's only been like 3.5 weeks or so. There have been, for comparison, I think so far in Lake Elsinore, there have been 7 days I've had of -200 or worse. My final 125 days in Vegas last year had 7 days of minus 200 or worse. So the swings are real, and there are some really big winning days and there are some really big losing days. And for like the first time in my life, it's a small sample, but I'm having about the same number of losing days as winning days. Usually it's like 60% winning days, 40% losing, and the winning days are much higher severity than the losing days are a low severity, a negative severity. Out here, it's like pretty equal. It's about the same number of winning days as losing, and like my best couple of winning days are about the same amount, the same absolute value, the same distance from zero as my worst losing days. So it's a lot of swings. It's like roller coasters, like several roller coaster sessions, which I'm not used to, but I'm dealing with it here, and it's like another level. Like Council Bluffs is difficult, Maryland can be wild. Like this is another level, and those are some differences between Lake Elsinore poker and Vegas poker. And remember, rice is a spoon food.